Hey everybody, welcome back to 14 Rings, an NFC East podcast. I'm your host, Lucas, with Mal, Maurice, and Earl. And we have already done the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants offseason grades. Now, we get to go to my team here, the Washington Commanders, and I'm so excited. I hope you guys are too.
Yay!
It wouldn't be an NFC East podcast without some hate, and that's okay. I'll feed on that. I feed on it. So let's go ahead.
Or Major Tutty.
Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah.
I can get behind the name, but not the mascot. Anyway, so that being said, let's start with the free agency moves here. There are a lot here for the Commanders, so let's get into it. They brought back KJ Osborne. First off, right? I'm just highlighting the main names here. KJ Osborne's coming back. We'll see what happens there. That's an okay move. I was like, why bring him back if he didn't play at all last year? But who knows, right? Next one, defensive tackle, Dedrick Wise. Look, he's a NFL, sorry, not an NBA. Sorry, NBA playoffs are going on right now. I'm a little distracted, but that's okay. NFL veteran.
Like Kendrick said.
Anyway,
turn this TV
NFL veteran, got drafted in 2017. For his career, he has 314 tackles and 34 for losses. He's 6'5", 280 pounds, so, good run stopper there. Really like that there. Next one, we added some cornerback depth. When this move happened before the draft, I thought it was a good move. After the draft, I love the move because he's a depth piece here. Jonathan Jones from the New England Patriots as well. He has 11 interceptions, 57 pass breakups for his career, and has 436 tackles. He can play nickel, so that's another positive there. Or he can play on the outside. He's a depth piece, which I like. I like that, right? So next one here is defensive tackle Eddie Goldman. I know he took a hiatus last year, but not last year, but the year before. But he's back. And, he started 10 games for the Atlanta Falcons last year. Another big body to stop runs. He has recorded in his career 191 tackles, 14 sacks, 24 QB hits. So he's a guy that can get after the quarterback there. Now, I know that we lost our safety, in free agency, but we replaced him with an upgrade, in my opinion, in Will Harris. And look, Will Harris, coming from the Saints here, has played 94 career games. He also has 19 pass breakups, 2 fumble recoveries, 320 tackles. Okay, 3 interceptions as well. So I really like Will Harris. That's a great fit there. And then, of course, probably the biggest name that the Commanders signed, Javon Kinlaw, does have connections with Adam Peters, coming from his best season with the Jets, but started out his career in San Francisco. Look, he became a full-time starter last year, had 40 tackles, 4.4 sacks. He could play, play in the elephant defense, which I know Dan Quinn wants to run, so that's another thing to look at here. Outside of that, those are the free agents that we brought in. Those were the big time free agents. Also Michael Gallup, but they're smaller names after that. But those were the big ones here. People that we brought back, backups center Michael Dieter's back. Don't love the move, don't hate the move. It is what it is. Marcus Mariota, look, was a good veteran presence. Won us 2 games actually, against the Cowboys and the Panthers. So look, I'm okay with bringing him back. Running back Jeremy McNichols, pretty much the best pass blocker that we had in the backfield, and runs hard. I like that pick, bringing him back. I thought that was good. Chris Rodriguez, we have exclusive rights free agent with him. Could end up being one of the cap casualties here, but I'm okay with bringing him back as a camp body for sure, right? So Chris Rodriguez is back, and then of course we got to bring in our Pro Bowler punter Tressway. He's back, no surprise there. We brought back Zane Gonzalez, and then we released him for Matt Gay, which I'm okay with. Look, Matt Gay had a good season. I am a little worried about him as a kicker just because, he kicked last year in a dome. So we'll see. If this was a 2030 pickup, then this is great because we'll have a dome at that point. But, we'll
Lucas,
see. Yeah.
there is a Hall of Fame kicker available. You gonna sign him?
Who? Oh, no. We're good. We don't want none of that
I'm not
drama.
going to touch it with a 10-foot
Heard that.
pole, huh?
Not going to touch that with a 20-foot pole.
Period.
No, we're good. We're good on kickers this year. I think we're going to be one and done, unlike last year. We brought back the best pass blocking tight end in John Bates. Look, that's a great pickup. I'm glad that we brought him back. We need to protect Jaden Daniels. Doing it at the tight end position is important too. We got to bring back the vet himself, the Super Bowl champion, first ballot Hall of Famer, Bobby Wagner. We got to bring him back for one more season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Teach the young guys, right? So I'm all for bringing Bobby back. Good leadership, good player still. So I'm all for that. Surprising move. I honestly thought they were going to let him go, but maybe they just wanted one more year of Ben Sinnott, developing. But Zach Ertz is back, and I'm okay with it too. Didn't spend too much money. He was a good safety blanket for Jaden Daniels. I like I said, I hope that they start incorporating Sinnott more. But for now, Zach Ertz is here. So those were the free agency moves. I give free agency probably a solid B+. You guys' thoughts before I get to trades?
So you forgot to mention one of your biggest free agents, Lucas, Deebo Samuel.
Oh, well, no, that's a trade, my friend.
Oops, sorry. Spoiler alert. Not like we all
get to
know
him.
it.
Don't worry. We'll get to him. But any thoughts on the free agent moves?
I actually think the last one was the most important one in my opinion. Because Zach Ertz
was the most important?
Yeah, he was a huge safety valve for Jaden Daniels last season. Like when he needed a first down, either he ran it or he threw it to Zach Ertz. So him just being there for him, his second season, his sophomore season, I actually think it's a good move. And I think Zach Ertz has something in the tank too. I don't think he's done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Noah Brown, I can't remember if Noah Brown was a free agency or if he just had a 2-year deal, but Noah Brown's back too.
Mm-hmm.
Free agency.
Okay, yeah, so yeah. Anyway, Earl, any thoughts?
I'll give y'all a solid B.
Solid B, okay. Mal?
Yeah, I'll give you guys a B. The only reason why I do, though, is because I expected you guys to do more with your cap space that you had available. That's the only reason why, because I think that, and take it from somebody whose team kind of went to the playoffs and then was terrible, I think that there were more holes that you could have filled in free agency, but I think you did well with what you could, and you addressed it a bunch in the draft and trades, which we'll get to, but I'll give it a B.
Yeah. Maurice, what grade?
I give it a straight B.
Straight B, so B+, BBB. Okay, that's fine. Look, I get it. I get what you're saying, Mal, with the cap space, but I also want to, you don't want to spend it all in one off season. Look, you want to gradually fill it.
I wasn't even saying that either. I just thought that there were more free agents on the market that I would have suspected you guys have went for. Is all I meant.
There is a guy, and I was gonna wait to talk about him until we got the team news, but what's the guy from the Bengals?
Trey Hendrickson, but that's going to have to be a trade.
Yeah, that's going to be a trade. But that would be like the ultimate, last thing that we need to fix, right? So we'll see what happens there. But anyway, so yeah, I think we all agree B is pretty good there. Let's get to the trades here. So trades. There were two big trades, and are arguably outside of a trade that the Cowboys made, which we'll talk about here a little while later. These were the two biggest trades in the NFC East, right? Outside of that one, right? So Deebo Samuel coming over. We traded some picks. Deebo Samuel, number 2 wideout, right? Mm-hmm. Gadget guy, kind of is like the superstar charged. Oh gosh, I can't remember his first name now. He's on the Bills now.
So what position?
No, it's wide receiver. It's his last name is also Samuels, but I can't remember what
Curtis?
Curtis Samuel.
Curtis, he's like a supercharged Curtis Samuels. He does all the little things. And look, I'm we traded what? We're sending our 5th round pick there. That's good value. That's good value for Debo. I'm all for it. That was a slam dunk trade. I don't think, and if it doesn't go well, you only spend a 5th round pick, right?
True.
So like that's a low risk, high reward trade, right? The one that really surprised me here was trading for Laramie Tunsil, left tackle. Look, I think that, this is Tunsil's 3rd team, I believe, right? Because he started out with the Dolphins. He went to the Texans. He's 30 years old now. But 30 years old for offensive linemen is not the end-all, be-all. They're still in their prime. I know that he had some, he had a lot of penalties last season. Hopefully that was just bad offensive line coaching versus him regressing. But if that's the case, then guess what? You got one of the best left tackles in football still, right? He can still protect the edge really well. Can run block. He can do everything. Look, if he's still in his prime, then and we gave up a lot for him. Let's be clear, we gave up a lot, but it's worth it if he can still be who he has been up to this point. So that's my thoughts. Trade wise, I give the trades this offseason an A+. I think you got 2 positions of need, and you didn't I don't think you overpaid for either one.
Well, how many years does Tunsil have left? I know Debo has 1.
On his contract, I think he has like 3.
Okay, I know Debo has 1. You got to resign him.
Yeah. Well, that's why you only send a 5th round pick to.
Yeah, because of the contract. Yeah. So that's where most of your salary cap came from, via trades.
Yeah.
You bring in 2 all-pro level players, basically.
Yeah.
So I give it an A. I give it pretty close to an A+, because I think Debo is going to, next to McLaurin, I think it's going to be a nice 1-2 punch. You're giving Jaden Daniels more targets, more weapons to work with in this sophomore season. And you fortify your offensive line. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all. So I give it A+.
Mal?
I give it an A+, but Tunsil's new Abdul Carter food, so good luck.
Well, look, okay, so you want to talk that? Because I was going to wait until the draft, because, the guy that we drafted pretty much manhandled your 1st overall pick in the game that they played each other last offseason. So I'm just gonna say that, okay? He did a pretty good job against your 3rd overall pick. Yes, Earl.
We're talking about trades. We're talking about the grade.
I know, but she started it. She started it.
I'm concluding it, okay? Time out.
Concluding.
Right.
I'm
Go ahead, Earl, your
concluding
thoughts.
it,
Okay. I'm going to give you guys a B+. The reason for the B+.
Okay.
Period.
Is that
drag them, Earl. Drag them.
Look, I'm just being a realist here. Where Debo, he's a worthy asset, but he also battled injuries. So if this dude can stay healthy, then you got a solid guy next to Terry McLaurin. He can do different things, which Jaden Daniels needs. But at the same time, health. If his health is better in condition, then okay, slam dunk A. You got it. Tunsil. Is this his 3rd team?
Yes.
3rd team, yes.
Okay, maybe 3rd time's a charm with him for this, but he also gives veterancy on the offensive line. So you really need to solidify the offensive line. So right now you got young pieces mixed with some veterans. You got a guy in Tunsil who has the experience, can work with these guys. Maybe you can form something from there. You got Biotish at center. Y'all got to figure out how to protect him, protect his blind side, but also know that you got your best 5. So for that, time will tell how that progresses into the season. But overall, I think the trades that you guys did, y'all did go get the guys as well as addressing it. It's not to the point that I would give you an A for it, but I'll give you a B+ on the upside where it could potentially be an A.
Okay. All right. So 3 A+ and 1 B+. Okay. All right. So now we go to the draft. So let me just pull this up real quick. So let's start with
picks, right?
Josh Carter. We had 5 picks, so we didn't do that much. We didn't trade anything. So, but you know what? I think we hit a home run on each one of these. So let's start with Josh Connerly Jr. Look, I know Rio was talking about him before the draft. I wasn't thinking we would go offensive line in the first round. I'll be honest. I was thinking edge. We did the mock draft. You guys know who I had. Ended up going to Earl's team, so that's okay though. That's a good fit for him too. But look, Josh Carnley Jr. So yeah, if you look at his playing tape, he did a pretty good job against Abdul Carter. So guys might have got one of the best pass rusher in the draft, but we got the guy that did a pretty darn good job against him when they played against each other in college. So I think that was a little wink, move that Adam Peters made to Joe Shane there. I like that. And look, we needed him, and he can play either side of the left or right tackle. I think he's going to be right tackle to start off with.
You think he's going to start immediately?
Maybe I would assume so, but if not, you can work him in gradually. You still have Andrew Wiley, so you could start him off at the beginning of the year. I think he should start, but they might go Andrew Wiley to begin the year and work him in, kind of like what they did with Brandon Graham last year. I think Graham goes to left guard. And then we have, I've been hearing a lot about Trent Scott starting at right guard until Sam Cosmi gets back from his injury. So that's what I've been hearing. So yeah, Josh Carnley, heck of a pick, love it. And you know what? We needed to fortify our offensive line, especially with, you guys getting Azaraku, Eagles drafting some edges and linebackers, now getting, of course, Abdul Carter. And so yeah, no, Carnley is a great pick there. Trey Amos. I'm not gonna lie. I'm surprised he dropped this far. Now I know they said something about his back, but let's be real. Something's always gonna come up. Trey Amos fortifies our cornerback room because, you could still be like, I don't know, but this guy's 6'1", 190. He's a physical man, press man coverage type of guy. Look, he's the exact type of guy that Dan Quinn loves, and now you have somebody that can play opposite of Lattimore and allows Mikey Sainristil to be his natural nickel position. And by the way, Sainristil, he didn't get to do this last year because he had to play coverage so much, but he's a great blitzer from the nickel package. So this move does more than just allows one person to be good. It allows a lot of people to be good. So I love this move. This is a great move. Love it. And next one here. And I think this guy might be the most underrated wide receiver in the draft here. Jalen Lane. And I get it. He's 5'10", 191 pounds. He's not a huge dude, but he has a big wingspan, humongous wingspan. And on top of that, he was one of the fastest guys in the combine. 4.34, right? He's a fast dude. He's gonna be, he's gonna be a punt returner for us. Maybe kickoff, definitely punt returner automatically. And then on top of that, he's the quickest guy. Terry's not a burner anymore. He's lost, I'm not going to say he's lost his step, but he's not the guy that you can consistently throw down the field to anymore. Noah Brown, he's not super fast either. He did a good enough job, but let's be real. You want somebody faster than him. So Jalen Lane really fills that role. And best case scenario here, he might become a miniature, Deshaun Jackson type deal here. I maybe not quite as fast, obviously, but play that role at least, right? Because when he was in DC, he was great, right?
Is he going to be your returner?
I love that. I think he's going to be our punt returner. I think Luke McCaffrey still has the kickoff returner, which is fine with me. I think Luke's better at that anyway, because he's just put my head down and run. I think Jalen Lane might be the third wide receiver on the depth chart, not Luke McCaffrey.
Really?
I think Jalen Lane. Look, if he's as good as he projects to be, you already have a big body. You got Terry and Debo are 1 and 2. There's no doubt up there. McCaffrey might make the jump next year. We don't know for sure though, because he's still he only started playing wide receiver 3 years ago, right? So we don't know about Luke yet. Luke, if worst case scenario, he's the kickoff returner, right? Noah Brown coming back from kidney issues. Maybe that works out. Maybe that doesn't. Michael Gallup took a year off. Who knows, right? Maybe a camp body, right? So, like, really, Lane has all the runway to take this wide receiver 3 job, in my opinion.
Okay.
Now, I might mispronounce this next person's name.
Earl,
And I do Yeah, Earl.
He's got to compete for it.
Earl, what's up? He does have to compete for it. I'm not giving him the job. I'm saying he has a chance to win it. That is what I'm saying. Okay, next person here. Now, this was the fastest linebacker in all the draft, according to the combine speeds, right? His name is Kane Medrano. Kane Medrano, okay?
Medrano. Don't call him Kane, like the wrestler.
Yeah, what's wrong with Medrano?
Kane is a cool name.
I like Medrano. Okay, it's spelled with a K, though. That's even crazier
like the wrestler, yeah.
Okay, so anyway, his 40-yard dash for a linebacker, 4.46.
Oh, that's good.
Now, I will say he is a little under... Huh?
What's his height?
He is 6'3", 222 pounds. So he's a little undersized in terms of weight.
That's big nickel right there.
I'm thinking, I think they're going to use him all over the field. That's what I honestly think. I think they might use him as an edge rusher sometimes. I think they might use him as nickel or coverage linebacker. That's what I think here. I think this is the overall theme that you get from Adam Peters and this guy. He's going for fast people. He's going for super fast people.
Speed kills.
Because look, the Eagles got speed. The Cowboys have some speed. The Giants are getting speed. So we need to make sure that we don't get just technically sound people. We need to get athletes. We haven't had athletes on this team for a while.
But see, the thing is, though, at certain positions, you got to have size. It's a perfect combination of speed and size.
I don't know how much. I don't know how much Kane is going to play right away. I'm not sure. He might be one of those guys like Jordan McGee last year. He barely played. He might need a year of seasoning. And if that's the case, I'm sure he'll put on a couple more pounds.
You're never wrong.
But still,
4.46 in first year.
Yeah, he might be a special teams guy. But look, that's great value for a 5th round pick. Or no, 6th round pick. My mistake. 6th round pick. And last one, probably the most slept on running back in the whole entire draft. Jacoby Krosky or JCM for sure. We're gonna call him JCM, right? This guy, I mean, look, he played pretty much 6 years of college, which is crazy. Yeah. He didn't get that much playing time last year with Arizona because of eligibility issues. But the guy, when he played at New Mexico State and another D2 college in Alabama, I don't even know the name there. This guy could run. This guy has bursts. He can cut. He can make a cut, and he's a home run threat. Look, honestly, if he played a full season in Arizona, he probably would have been a 2nd or 3rd round pick. I honestly believe that. If you've seen his tape, you would know. He's 5'11", 204 pounds. And I believe he has he did not get an invite to the combine. But I promise you, he's running at least a 4.4, if not faster. The guy's fast. The guy's fast, and he's big. Anyway, I think I think there's a chance at some point this season he gets a start.
A start?
I know he's a 7th round pick. But honestly, you got to watch the tape. I'll send you the guys the tape afterwards. Okay, the guy's a monster.
Well, first of all,
Lucas, I got to.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
First of all, how many running backs is he behind? He's behind Robinson.
So we have 4 running backs on the roster. But remember what our friend Lake Lewis said.
One of them might be moved.
Nobody's safe in that running back room.
Okay. Sure.
Nobody's safe in that running back room. And I said earlier, Chris Rodriguez only has tenured player rights. He didn't get a normal contract or anything. So he's probably more of a camp body / practice squad guy again. And we're not. And do we honestly believe that we're going to get a full healthy season of both Ryan Robinson and Austin Eckler?
That's tough.
Might be some split time.
So JCM might have a real chance here of getting legitimate playing time. Okay. So anyway, Earl, did you have something to say about JCM?
Oh yeah, I was just saying that that was a nice pickup. It was just seeing how your running back room is going to be, but it also determination factor on how healthy your running backs are going to be. Because right now y'all got a lot on the chart, so
Yeah, you just got to figure
that
out. Maybe somebody gets traded. There's a chance that happens too. Or cut. We'll see. So the draft, I'm going to give our draft probably... I'm going to give it a B+. I give it an A, except for, the one position that we really needed is edge. And that wasn't addressed in the draft. So, and I thought that was the one position for sure that was going to get addressed in the draft. So I'm going to give it a B+ there. I think that, you look at the value everywhere. I'm almost half tempted to say A-, but if you don't get one of the top position of need, you can't get an A-. So, you drafted well at all these positions. You got great athletes, and you made the most of your 5 picks. Okay, so I don't think you whiffed on any of these. So that's my thought. So B+.
Mm-hmm. I'll go first. I'll give it a B-.
Okay.
And I actually think that's a little generous. Might even go C++. For the first reason,
wow.
The first reason is, you didn't, even you in your mock had him taking Ezeraku. Yeah, that was an important need. Edge was an important need for you guys, and you didn't address it at all. Like, not even like a 5th rounder. So that reason, and just based off of who you drafted, I think maybe you had 2 starters in the offensive lineman and Amos. Maybe they're 2 starters, but the other 3 guys, I don't believe they're going to be starters. If not, even if they make the team, probably be special teamers at best. So I give it. I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna be a nice guy tonight. I'm gonna give you a B-.
Okay, Mal.
Yeah, so I'd probably give it around a B- as well, but also I'd gear closer to B. I wouldn't gear closer to C++. I'm nicer than Maurice tonight.
Okay,
so
I appreciate that.
just want to put that on the record. But yeah, mainly because you didn't address edge. Maybe there's a late trade that we'll see. I think that's the one position that I'm most skeptical about you guys going into the regular season is your defensive line. Like I said, could be a late round trade that happens. I'm not sure at this point, but that, and I like the Amos pick, but I agree with Maurice. Your last few picks, we'll see. Maybe one of them will break out and be a big impact on the team. But Jalen Lane gives me Jalen Hyatt vibes. I could be wrong. But that's just the vibe I'm getting from him. Super quick, but other issues that will make him a little non-impactful in the NFL in his first few seasons, maybe after development. So I'll give you a B-.
Okay, Earl.
I'm gonna give you a B-, and I'm kind of teetering towards that C+, maybe even a C. The only reason why I give it a B- is that you definitely needed to figure out the trenches on the offensive side of the ball. I understood that pick. You also made the moves in the offseason to try to make this draft the best that you can make it. You only had 5 picks, so you had to hit on what you could from that. And with you getting Amos, that gives you another depth at corner. He's going to have to compete. And then you got Lane with the receiving core. He's going to have to compete. These last couple of pieces you have, even Merritt, they're going to have to compete. But overall, I really think if y'all would have gotten that edge somewhere with that second pick, then maybe, just maybe, it would have been more of a higher grade because it was an interior need. But depending what y'all did with the trading, especially getting Kinlaw, that kind of helps. But the edge is still a little bit question marky. But at the same time, I would just give it a B-, but you only had 5 picks, so you work with what you could do. So I would say it's not a bad draft for what you got.
See, I could see Dan Quinn, and I know Earl, you don't know what I'm talking about. He's gonna start converting Kane into a edge. I see that happening.
And that is the scary part. It's light. It's finesse ball. You definitely need to be more physical, bigger around setting the edge.
And that's what we did in free agency. That's what we did with the defensive tackles.
Are you comfortable with that?
I mean, I don't think Kane's going to contribute this season. I think he's
I'm
the
not
one player out
saying
of this
I'm not
draft
saying
that
Kane. I'm talking about with what y'all had from what y'all did this past season.
And that gets me to my final point. What grade do I give them this offseason, right? As a total. We talked about individually. You know, I said B plus for free agency. I said A plus for trades, and I said B plus for draft. So with that in mind, I'm going to give them an A minus. Like I said, the only thing that we needed to address and we didn't, maybe a guy like John Jean Baptiste steps up in year 2. Maybe another guy steps up that we don't expect. Maybe Kinlaw loses the 20 pounds that he gained to play defensive tackle to go back to edge when he started at where he started out as, and maybe he's the answer there. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to give it an A minus.
Okay,
Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, so overall, I give the off-season a B plus. I think that would be
Okay.
because the trades I gave an A plus, I gave the free agency a B plus, and then I gave the draft a B minus, so a B plus.
Okay.
I agree with Earl. The only question I have is your defensive line going into this season. I think the Eagles, Cowboys, and Giants defensive lines got stronger, and I don't think Commanders did just that. I think that it's about the same, a little bit better with Kinlaw. But I don't think you closed the gap enough on Philly's offensive line compared to your defensive line. So that's the only thing that worries me divisional wise. So B plus.
Okay. Maurice?
I give it a B minus. Overall,
B minus, okay.
Overall, I thought your goal, Adam Peters' goal this offseason was to accentuate the positives of what you guys did last season. And that's help Jaden Daniels become the next, franchise leading, maybe Super Bowl leading quarterback. And he did do that. But I thought he could have done better with his running back. The offensive line, we will see. Even you were skeptical about Tunsil.
He had not a great season last year, but he does have multi-time Pro Bowlers, so we'll see.
Defensively, you guys got better, but on the defensive line, you didn't. So
we didn't improve the edge, right? We lost Dante Fowler to the Cowboys, right? And he was our 10 sacks guy. But outside of Dante Fowler, we didn't really lose. And Jonathan Allen didn't play half the season anyway. So we did get bigger bodies to stop the run. And look, in the NFC East, we have to stop the run. Yes. We have you guys. We have the Giants. We have, I don't know about the Cowboys run game. Well, yet to be determined. If you guys get Nick Chubb, that's a different story. You'll see it. But yeah, no. So, look, we did what we needed to do, which was stop the run. Now, maybe it's, rushed by committee, who knows? Or maybe they might employ Sam Still as a rusher. I think that's more likely here as, like a nickel rusher. But I think for now, the defensive tackle room got significantly better. And the edge got better in the sense of protecting the run, but not maybe rushing the pass.
What about your secondary?
Secondary got better. Trey Amos is an upgrade over Benjamin St. Juste.
So with your answer just now, Lucas, how would you grade your pass rush? A through F.
A through F. My pass rush, probably like a B minus, C plus.
See, now I'd give it probably around a C, C minus.
Yeah, you're being a little too generous, Lucas.
I said C plus. I think it's average.
Can I get my grade?
Degrees.
Yeah, Earl hasn't got it, guys.
Sorry,
Earl. Yeah.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. I'm going to give you guys a solid B for just the offseason as a whole. Y'all definitely made moves that y'all needed to try to get better. And for that, I can't get mad at y'all for that. But I will tell you, with the upside that you have with this pass rushing, I give it a C because it looks like you traded Jonathan Allen. You pretty much got rid of Jonathan Allen, but you're banking on Johnny Newton going with Deron Payne. So I feel like that DT room is pretty much where it's going to be, the edges, which means you're banking on Armstrong to take that next step. And then you also got Kane, if you want to put him at edge.
Or Kinlaw.
Or Kinlaw. Whatever he needs to do to get it done, y'all have to share that edge. Because if y'all know the film on it, they're going to be like, okay, we know where your strength is. We're going to smoke you on the outside because you don't have that comfortable. But from what you saw, like, you had to make sure that you got that premier guy on the edge. And who knows, you might still be able to do that, make a trade before the season starts.
Yeah, I mean, this is all moot point. If we trade for Hendrickson, then this is
Not just Hendrickson. There's other guys out there as well. Like, I know some guys I want, but I'm not gonna say
Clowney's out there.
Hey, whichever work that they can make the move for. Mm-hmm. But I give y'all a solid B for the whole offseason.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Javion Clowney.
I think he might be done.
Bring him in on a 1-year deal. He can pass. He can rush the passer. You say that's what we need, right?
They're going to be running that ball, bro. Running backs matter. This season, we're going to see it.
That's true. That's true. Anyway, so I don't think there's any major Commanders news. So I don't really have much to say here. Like I said, just Trey Hendrickson, just a name to keep an eye on, you know. And we don't have that many picks for next year's draft either. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
But I will say this. He made the Bengals look so bad today that they have lost a lot of leverage in any potential trade talks or contract talks, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's getting a little nasty.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's like, I'm a Florida guy, and there are sharks that are unprovoked, or shark attacks that are provoked and unprovoked.
Oh, wow.
It is what it is.
Don't provoke
it is what it is. So, anyway, so that being said, look, Hendrickson and Clowney are two names to keep an eye on this offseason as like maybe late camp, like pre-camp additions. We'll see. Maybe I think Hendrickson doesn't. I think that trade happens right before the beginning of the season. That's what I think happens, guys. I'm not sure.
Either he gets paid at the beginning of the season or he gets traded.
Yeah. Question is, you know, and we're not the only team looking at him either. Mm-hmm. I will say this. Nick Chubb. I would love to have Nick Chubb. Probably not going to happen. But, you know, I think, honestly, Nick Chubb would fit better with the Cowboys.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
But, hey, you never know. Training camp comes up. It might be early acquisition.
That was somebody I was mentioning last week for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
You still got something left in the tank.
Anyway, Maurice, any Eagles news?
Yes, 2 newses. Actually, some of our schedule came out.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Actually, Commanders news.
I like that. Yeah, I forgot about that. But that's...
All right, so...
Yeah. I figure out, you know, I didn't forget about it. I wanted you to do that.
Yeah, he forgot about it.
I'll take the alley. Rivalry week will begin the season as the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles will play the Dallas Cowboys Thursday, opening night. Nobody, no excuses. Nobody's injured. Hopefully, knock on wood. So everybody's gun's going to be loaded. We're going to see. Kick off the division on the right note. Earl, you ready?
Man, I've been wanting this whole time. After all the talks your fan base have been saying, I wanted that week 1 and I got my wish. So
didn't I
I'm
tag
ready.
You in something, Earl, with the Eagles fans talking more smack about your team?
And I said that I question Facebook? If they're really Eagles fans.
You know, it was Twitter.
Okay. I didn't see that one. I didn't catch it.
Look, man, I'm excited for this.
I'm excited.
I'm ready.
I'm excited
Enough
too.
said for it.
What Bart Scott
I want
say?
Dallas to be ready. But I'll get to that point on my news.
What Bart Scott say? Can't wait. All right.
What needs to wait is that shiny forehead of his.
A couple of our games leaked apparently because we're also going to play the Chicago Bears on Black Friday, Amazon Prime game. We're traveling to Lambeau on November 10th, so we're going back to Green Bay. And also, we're playing the Commanders Week 16 at Washington.
Let's go.
I don't know if that's going to be our first matchup or second. I don't know, but
well, by the time this podcast comes out, the same day the NFL full schedule will be released.
Yes, tomorrow.
Yes.
So we should know,
or today when you're listening.
Yeah, today we're listening
because you guys will be listening tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a couple of our games that leaked so far. We'll get the full schedule of all of our teams tomorrow. In other news, Dallas Goedert restructured his contract.
Oh yeah.
For 1 year. He went from $14 million to $10 million with a $1 million in incentives. So now he basically took a $2 million pay cut just for this season. Looks like this is going to be the last season for Dallas Goedert in Philly. So hopefully he balls out, and hopefully he gets paid on the other side.
Look, we'll take another one of your former tight ends. The first time it worked out well for us. So
good luck with that one, man.
You need to look more across the league, man. You're trying to steal within the division.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Dallas goes from Philly to Washington. How about that?
That would be
a heck of a storyline.
Yeah, heck of a storyline. But that's it for this week for Eagles news.
Okay, Earl. Let's get to the big news, right? This is the biggest news of the NFC East this week.
Technically last week, but
since the podcast last aired.
Yep, that's true. Dallas Cowboys went and got their receiver in a trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers. One of those top rivals in the franchise history with both teams. And George Pickens was sent to the Cowboys for a third-round draft pick, as well as a swap of late-round picks within 2026 and 2027. Dallas is getting a guy who pretty much was a number one for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This past 3 seasons, he's accumulated over 59 catches, over 800 to 900 yards, with 3 touchdowns. He's a worthy asset, especially at the receiver position, and I think Dallas got more than a wide receiver 2. I believe Dallas right now have 2 wide receiver 1s, and with bringing Pickens in, that puts the other guys in the receiver room on notice, where the combination between Lamb and Pickens look like it could be one of the top duos in the league. I'm excited to see how that plays out because Pickens brings a physicality. He brings an edge that I really haven't seen in the receiver room since Dez Bryant, where I think he could have some comps to Dez Bryant, but we just got to see how that plays out when he got the star on his helmet. But overall, I like the trade. They definitely needed to get that guy. But I think it's just more than a wide receiver 2, and I'm glad to have Pickens on this team.
So, a few things that I want to add to that. First off, Earl, remind me, what grade did I give you guys for the offseason? Do you remember? I want to say it was like a B-, right?
Yeah, B-.
I want to amend that to a B+.
Okay.
I do want to amend that. I think this move pushes it up significantly. That being said, a few things. One, I believe that you guys are, started talking to the Steelers first, and then disengaged, try to get Rashard Bateman
around draft time.
Around draft time. That didn't work out. The Ravens weren't really interested. That makes fair enough, right? You guys got back to it. Now, Earl, I do apologize for about to piss you off again, because we had this conversation on the phone a while ago.
What you got?
So, I talked to Earl after the trade happened, and I made the statement that the Cowboys now have the second best wide receiver duo in the division. I still have the Eagles having first. I will admit that we have third in Mal until you get a true... Slayton's good, but he's not as good as Debo, right? So, he's not. Anyway, at least not yet. I mean, maybe if Debo regresses, then maybe he'll be... I don't know. Anyway, point being...
No comment. Debo already regressed, but we won't get into that.
Anyway, point being here... Now, Earl is adamant that that's not true. I don't know. Maurice, what do you think?
Earl, you think you have the number one, the best duo in the division?
I do.
Ooh. Now, what you have to take into account is George Pickens is coming from being the number one receiver on the Steelers to now coming here and being the number two. He's clearly the number two. CD's better. Now you have to take that into account. You have to take into account the offense. Now, if the offense is going to be a passing offense, then you might be right, because the Eagles is a rushing offense first and foremost. But if you can make a poll of this, Lucas, who would you rather have?
I was planning on. I wanted to bring it up on the pod first before.
Who would you want to rather have? Devontae Smith or Debo or George Pickens?
Debo's not even going to be picked. I'm sorry, Lucas.
I mean, you add Darius Slayton, he's not going to get picked either.
I never said he was. But anyway, Pickens, it's
no, I was going to do some type of poll.
Yeah,
but no,
yeah,
I think this is a good thought exercise, because you have to think about it. It's not just those two; it's who's throwing to them. I think we can all agree that in a vacuum, Dak Prescott is a better passer than Jalen Hurts, right? We can agree on that, right?
You said in a vacuum.
I'm trying to be political here, okay? Let me try to be political. I'm not trying to offend.
This ain't a politician podcast.
He isn't talking
my team's in DC. Yeah. Of course, it's a politics.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
So,
I forgot.
I agree, Lucas.
So with that in mind, I also want to say that both I think AJ Brown and CeeDee Lamb are a wash in terms of who's better. I think they're equal. So the question is, who's better, Devontae Smith or George Pickens? On the field, probably George Pickens, but George Pickens, I know that maybe it was. You can say, he was on a bad team,
just like the media, and I was waiting for you to. Bring that up.
But off. Well,
go ahead, Lucas. Go ahead.
On the field, George Pickens is better, but I am concerned about personality stuff with him. I am concerned with personality stuff, and maybe it's because he was on a bad team. Who knows?
That is a good question, though, Earl. Are you concerned about the antics that come with George Pickens? They actually call him on Twitter. They actually call him NFL Young Boy. That's his nickname on Twitter.
That is crazy.
I don't know where that came from, but yeah.
But then you have to give. Okay. Then if he's so much of a bad egg, then what happened with Antonio Brown? What happened with Emmanuel Sanders? What happened with Chase Claypool? What happened with Mike Williams? What happened with Deontay Johnson? I can keep going.
Well, I think we all could agree with Antonio Brown. That's CTE.
Yeah.
Right. He got hit in the head in that Bengals game. No problem. I got a chance to listen to Ryan Clark have kind of a one-on-one where he's been working with Pickens, talking with him and things, where he does believe that the scenery could work better for Dallas, where getting him out of Pittsburgh was the best thing. And if that is the case, then so be it. I just think he just needed help. He had a quarterback that was throwing to him that was nonsense. And then just dealing with the situation that was there. I just don't think when they traded for DK, it was a business decision that he wasn't going to get paid in Pittsburgh, where it was talks with them and Aaron Rodgers get in there and stuff and so on from there. So now you get rid of Pickens, that kind of in the air. And I understand just his attitude and things from there. Dez had an attitude, and you saw how well he was still loved in Dallas and so on from there. But with what Brian Schottenheimer is trying to build with this team, I think this is kind of a healthy relationship that could be in the works for Dallas. And for you, Lucas, I understand.
Me?
Yes, you. And
my.
I have no problem with what Maurice said. That's a debate. I love talking ball. I'm about to talk ball with you right here, and then I'm going to digress. Lucas, can you tell me the number one corners that Pickens went up against?
I'm going to assume every team's number one corners.
I'm going to give you a couple of names. Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, I'm not going to name
AJ.
them. Go ahead.
Here, I'm going to tell you. AJ Terrell. The Ravens secondary. Then you had the corners from the Bills. Then on top of that, you had the players from the Bengals. And if I could stand correct, he went up against some of the guys for the Commanders. But if you're looking at the number ones that he did go up against, he went aligned with those guys and Nate Wiggins. He went up against Kyle Hamilton and so on. Ravens could tell you, like, trying to guard him one-on-one, it's not happening. But if you're looking at what he can do with number ones, if you're putting one side Pickens and then the other side CeeDee Lamb, who are you going to double? One's going to get open. And if you can fully lock them down, this is going to be a true testament to what your secondary can do, what your secondary can do, Mal, and what your secondary can do, Maurice, in order for that to occur. And I'm not even throwing in a bet on what's going to happen with this. I really think the offense just got unlocked with Lambs and Pickens, especially in the receiver room. I digress.
All right, before you digress, Earl, I didn't even give my take on it. I think that they have a great chance to be the best wide receiver duo in the division if they both play up to par. I agree with Earl completely 100%. I think it's completely debatable between the Eagles. Yeah, I think it's completely debatable between the Eagles and the Cowboys. I think our guys got work to do, Lucas. I think that.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
I don't know, but that I 100% agree, Earl. I don't disagree with you at all. Good trade.
And I'm hearing the noises of just they're sleeping on this right now. So don't worry, y'all.
Take it from someone who is an honorary Ravens fan. Pickens was always a problem. So. Mm-hmm. And Marlin was one of the best corners in the league last year. Had problems with him every time.
I forgot about Humphrey as well. Yeah.
All right. Mal, any Giants news?
Not much. Just that rookie training camp started, rookie mini camp. So we're just getting a first look at the guys, some fresh tape, but we'll see how they go in regular training camp. And I feel like I had one more thing, but I can't remember.
Gabe Davis?
Gabe Davis visited from Jacksonville. Familiar face for Shane and Dable, so we'll see if he gets added to the wide receiver room.
I do like Gabe Davis in your wide receiver room. I like that.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. I think it'd be chill.
And I just want to say, you guys' social media team is going off the wall. I love what you guys are doing social media wise.
Yeah,
Cam Scatterbo is becoming like low key one of my favorite running backs in the division.
I love Cam Scatterbo. He's an animal.
He's crazy.
He just wants to hurt people. He's wild. Yeah. Wild.
He is your Brandon Jacobs to
lunatic.
Tyrone to Tracy Jr.
We shall see how that plays out on the field.
That guy got to chill though, because he's gonna get himself some CTE, so he needs to relax.
Not the CTE.
No, he needs to chill. He's gonna get himself hurt.
Jacobs truck LaRon Landry. That was funny to me.
Yeah.
The good old days.
Anyway, Cowboys mailbag, right, Maurice?
Yes, this week's mailbag is brought to us by the Dallas Cowboys. And we got one question from Ed on Twitter, X. By the way, do you guys say X or Twitter?
I say Twitter.
I say Twitter.
Twitter.
I think this is a Twitter-only podcast.
Yeah. You got to be in that age range. We're older, so it's just Twitter.
Yes.
Anyway, Ed X.
I don't think some of the youngsters
I don't think the
say
young
Twitter
kids
as
get
well.
on X.
Who?
I've yet to hear somebody say X.
Yeah, I don't think anybody says X unless they're talking professionally, talking about you can find us on Twitter or X. You know?
Like we do. Yeah. All right. In your opinion, have the Cowboys met their quota of strong-willed personalities for this organization with the acquisition of George Pickens, or is there room for more? So I guess the question is, I wouldn't say attitude, but just like a personality.
Are you talking about kind of like a dog mentality?
Yeah, you can go that way.
Or dog mentality? Yeah, I think
you want some more dogs.
Adding Pickens to the right. And I definitely know CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons want to take leadership. I know there was some different position moves in the locker room where leaders are paired with one another. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I definitely know Pickens is a dog mentality. Like he has it. And I just can't wait to see it on the field. I just think with Tyler Booker being added, this guy wants to take the football love from the opposition. And the way he said it just had me just wanting to run through a wall for him, because it seems like each guy has their they're locked in for this. And now that they know who their opponent is week 1, I'm ready, and I definitely know they will be ready. And it's going to be a fun little matchup. And low-key, Maurice, I hope we spoil all the fans who are like, yay, we're Super Bowl champions. Yay. I want it to be so quiet. I can see someone cooking an egg on the sideline and hear the sizzle.
Is it at Dallas or Philly?
Is that Philly? Of course.
It wasn't Philly.
Oh, is that Philly?
I want to hear.
So they're raising the banner, Earl, against your team. You gotta step up.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta see it too.
I would love to play spoiler. Yeah. I would love it. We've done it once before. Mm-hmm. I believe we could do it again. But until that time comes, it's absolute cinema.
It's gonna be fun. Absolute cinema.
All right, Earl, it's your time.
It's time for Who's That Football Player? What's that thing they do? Hey. Oh, wait, the
call.
No, I think you. I think you were talking about this, the little arm flapping thing. I don't know.
You can't see my arm.
Can see this. Yeah. No, this is the Napoleon Dynamite. This is what that is. The Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Napoleon's just like.
Yeah, it's the saying those fly eagles fly. For the Who's That Football Player?
Go Birds.
This player played with the Philadelphia Eagles. In the 2018 season, this player had 116 receptions for 1,163 yards with 8 touchdowns. Career awards, a Super Bowl champ, 3-time Pro Bowler, 3-time NFL Top 100. Mal, as well as myself, and I believe we're all going to get this right. Who's that football player?
Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz.
Yeah, Zach.
Who plays with the bad opposition.
Now, my question is, Maurice, why did you choose Zach Ertz? It was so obvious.
Snappers.
Well, was it really obvious? I mean, I tried.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I knew you was doing your off-season review. Zach Ertz was going to come up. So I thought, maybe we'll go with Zach Ertz.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay. Yeah, it's not bad. Like, he's a phenomenal tight end, and
is that
he did a lot for the Eagles. And
no.
Poll question.
I don't think so.
Honestly, it's debatable.
It's debatable. I think
it might be debatable, but I don't see it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if his numbers got to the point, but I mean, it's definitely a conversation for it, though.
And by the way, sidebar, shout out the Major League Baseball unbanning Pete Rose finally.
Oh yeah, that was needed. Needed.
Wait, they did that?
Yeah.
Who's the commissioner of Major League? Manfield, I want to say. Yeah, he said pretty much after a player dies, their ban ends.
Convenient. Because they let what's the other guy name?
Why is that so funny, Mal?
Maurice went convenient.
It is.
Yeah, that's
because we kind of knew, like, once he passed away, they were going to put him in the Hall
of Fame. It is
thing.
technically a lifetime ban, so when your life is over, technically the ban should be over.
Man, that's wee-woo, man. They should be ashamed of themselves for that, man.
Hey, he might not get to enjoy it, but his family does, so, you know.
Yeah,
it wasn't just Pete Rose. Man. It was, what was the other guy's name? He had a nickname, like, Loose what?
Shoeless Joe Jackson? Johnson?
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess now we got.
That's kind of.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know. That just kind of rubbed me.
It's better than keeping them out forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some capping over there and stuff, trying to prove a point.
All right.
Shame on them. Shame.
Mal, we got 3 polls this week, right?
Yeah. So there's 2 Cowboys polls and a Giants poll. We'll do the Giants first. Who's the best quarterback on the New York Giants? Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston. I almost said Jameis Dart. My God.
Freudian slip there.
Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart, or Tommy DeVito. Everyone said Russell Wilson, which I think we can agree with there. We haven't seen anything from Dart yet. He's gonna have to sit for a bit.
Wait a minute,
I'm not gonna lie.
Hold
on Instagram, I on Instagram, I voted Tommy DeVito just to be
Lucas,
agent of chaos.
Did you really add Tommy DeVito to the poll?
He's on the roster.
Oh,
that's crazy.
He's on the roster.
If you haven't listened to us, say you're new, just know that Lucas is a bigger Tommy DeVito fan than I am.
That's
So
right.
No, he loves
honestly,
slamming the Giants quarterback.
He's the Italian Brochachi. He has to be.
What's going to happen if Jaden Daniels ever goes down, which we pray does never happen? Tommy DeVito is signing with the Commanders, so he can have the head of the fan club. Okay.
I mean,
what would be the ultimate return?
What?
Bringing Taylor Heineke back.
I don't even know where Heineke is this offseason. Is he with the Chargers still?
I don't
he's with the
know. I
Falcons.
don't know how he is.
I don't know.
Seattle.
I think he's with the Chargers. Okay, anyway.
Anyway, so let's move to the Cowboys stuff. Go ahead, Maurice. You want to say
I was
something?
going to say Daniel Jones would be the funniest.
No.
Stop.
No.
Stop.
Statue.
I would wear a brown bag over my head every time he started a game.
All I'll say is after the Giants
I know. I mean it.
released Daniel Jones, Dable's been skipping around like a happy puppy, like, eh.
I did see that video when he got excited about Jackson Dart. I'm just like, look at him. He's happy again.
We live. But let's talk about the Cowboys real quick. So how do you grade the George Pickens trade for the Dallas Cowboys? We ranked this. So, but Twitter said A, which we all agreed with. And then what's the bigger move in Dallas? In other sports news, Cowboys getting Pickens or the Mavs getting the number 1 pick. And Twitter said Mavs getting the number 1 pick. I think that is more important, mainly because of the loss of Luka.
Yeah, it is.
You know, so I think that's bigger. Earl, what do you think?
Earl has something that he wants to say though. Earl, what you got thinking? What you got brewing?
Oh, me? Oh, I'm happy the Mavs got the number 1 pick. I know who I want.
Yeah, Cooper Fly.
Oh, I ain't gonna say it now. It's probably not gonna happen. But
no, I mean, the only way it doesn't happen is if they trade that pick for Giannis.
Oh, that would be something.
And if that happens, I'm gonna be doing some cartoon flips and everything.
You getting the Giannis? Jersey?
They technically have a very interesting package. If I'm Milwaukee, I listen.
Shockingly, I probably would.
But this isn't a basketball
got a Luka
podcast.
jersey. But out of the blue moon trade, that just hurt my soul. But I understood why.
He understood why.
Yep, but I like the Pickens trade because I mean, they were working to try to get it done. And I know fans are wondering, are they going to sign him on the contract? Let the man hit OTAs and camp first and see how the season go. And everybody's wondering about the contract and stuff like that. I really think they're just to the point now. They're just like, they want to have first class tickets to the off season. And I'm just like, y'all are just delusional. So
you know who's not worried about the contract? Jerry. Jerry ain't worried about the contract.
Ooh, this should be a poll. Who gets their extension done first, Micah Parsons or Trey Hendrickson?
Oh, Lord.
Micah.
I don't know.
It's already done.
It better.
I think the deal is already done.
Especially with the defensive line stuff happening in the division, Micah he'll get paid.
Yeah, I think it's already done. I'm not worried about the contract right now. I'm just ready for these guys to get to training camp. I'm excited for what's happening with the team and just want to see it out there in full play.
By the way.
Yeah,
Not
it's close.
that far off.
It's close.
All right, guys. Last thing here before we wrap up. NFC East trivia. It's Washington Commanders. The question is, which 2 Washington players in the 2005 season returned kickoffs for a touchdown?
I actually think I know this.
I think I know.
I know
as
Earl
well.
knows this because this is like prime Earl era.
Well, I don't know. We'll see.
What year was this again? I didn't hear.
2005. I expect you guys to be able to get one of them pretty easily. The other one, I'm not so sure.
I think I know. Should I go first?
Yeah, go ahead, Mal.
Okay. Jerome Mathis and Liddell Betts.
Okay.
I had Betts and Randall L. But I don't think that's the right year.
Okay. Earl, I'm pretty sure you know this, so go ahead and save them.
Well, Liddell Betts is one, and then the other one's Antonio Brown.
Frick.
Antonio Brown?
Yeah, it is Antonio Brown. Not the Antonio Brown we know. It's
no.
another
yes,
Antonio
it was
Brown.
Antonio
another
Brown.
one.
There was. Okay. Yeah,
I can tell you.
I don't even know who you were talking about. Mathis. He's not even a return guy for the Redskins that season.
I'm gonna be so real with you. I probably saw him do something back in 05, and I just associated it with a kickoff return. Honestly,
I can tell you
now,
the numbers
honestly,
of the
person that you should probably guessed was either James Thrash or Rock Cartwright.
James
Those two would have been.
I remember.
he had
those players.
He had the third most kickoff returns on the team.
He was terrible with the Eagles.
not here nor there.
Lucas,
anyway,
I do know that between Betts and Brown, they both had a 94. One had a 94-yard kick return. Other one was 91, I believe.
Okay, Earl, I don't want to accuse you of cheating, but how do you remember that stuff? That's what I want to know. How do you remember that stuff?
He has a football encyclopedia in his brain.
Look, it's not even that. I remember watching the games. I legit watch football.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I couldn't remember a football game 3 years ago during the pandemic.
Same.
Neither could I.
Oh man.
I just remember players and moments. I don't remember games.
Yeah, you remember the highlights.
I'm a nerd at this. I'm a nerd.
You ready to go?
See, he called me a stats nerd. He is a game nerd.
I'm a game nerd.
Nothing wrong with that.
Game nerd.
All right. That being said, who wants to play us out this time?
It is me. And next week we will wrap up the offseason review with the Philadelphia Eagles, my team. Go Birds. Until then, we want to thank everybody for listening to the podcast this week. We appreciate each and every one of you listening to us and watching our videos. We really do. Consider subscribing to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, and Amazon. And you can watch this video or our bloopers or our extended clips on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and give our videos a thumbs up. Also, make sure to follow us on Twitter or X, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok, and also Facebook at 13_Rings Podcast. Until next week, have a good day.
Adios.
Bye, y'all. Go Knicks.
Blessings.